Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. It is episode 68 of Storytime Live. Can't believe I've done that many episodes. How is everyone doing tonight? I see there's quite a little bit of activity in the chat. Before we start, I like that. I like starting the stream and there's already chat going on. It gives you something to kind of it's like a springboard. It's really weird and awkward to start a stream and there's no one there yet and you're just like, I started talking to no one. And it's like, so that's why I kind of do what I do. And I apologize for anyone that sits around and waits. I try to keep it very consistent though, and the stream's coming because you got this thing. And if you're Vankman, you can just read a comic, and it's probably a good time. You could probably read a whole comic in the time that you're waiting. Melissa is first tonight. She is back to take her belt, and of course she ran off somewhere. She says I'll be back at 1. She's kind of a little cheater. I don't even know if she's actually here right now. But we'll find out. Let's see. Dragon Majesty is number 2. He says, all is right in the world. Melissa is first. Ronnie says, I was actually first, but I didn't bother commenting. Well, you know what they say, Ronnie. If you can't show the receipts. RDV says, I was first in my mind. As it should be, RDV. Why is the screen gray? I don't have an answer for that. But that's the way it is. This is says likely because he changed the title and changed the thumbnail. I did change the thumbnail, but it shouldn't have been gray. It should be blue. That was the thumbnail I put up. RDV says, I just read the current Justice League book. How is it, says Marania. Josh Williamson is a great writer, but I hate Dark Knight Metal. Oh, well. He wrote one of the good Dark Knight Metal tie-ins back when. I think he did Justice League back when too. They gave him like 1 or 2 issues. And it was one of the random tie-ins. I ended up reading it because I read the whole collected edition. And it was like, wow, this is one of the best, probably of all the tie-in issues. It was probably the best. The actual core issues were more my cup of tea. I really like Dark Knight's Metal, the core books, and then they had those, I don't even know what you call them anymore, the exploitive spin-off books, but they're like the origin. So they had like a one-shot book for each of the different Dark Knights, if you will. So they had, the Flash one, the Green Lantern one, the Batman Who Laughs. I think there was like 7 in total. Each of the Justice League members kind of had their mirror image Batman version of them, and they were mostly pretty good. I enjoyed those. And then there was a couple of one-shots. One of them, I can't remember the name. It was really good. But the core was all you really needed to read. Let's see. Right now, Justice League is part of the Dark Knight Metal event, and that's why Williamson is on it. Let's see. I'm wondering. Oh, I already know who's going to take over Justice League. It's Bendis. I guess I'm canceling Justice League. And in the current issue of Justice League Odyssey, Darkseid did more talking than anything else. Felt like Bendis was writing. Eric Breen is here. He says, "Hey kids, I'm jealous of your comic room," says Marania. Eric says, I used to have 3 of them. The one I have left is in complete disarray. Time to do a little organizing. Ronnie says, that still looks very organized to me. Did you show off your comic room? I didn't get to see it. Let's see. Seriously, it's semi-organized, but it's already bled into the next room. So much for not collecting. I have a dozen short boxes or so that I need to integrate. Yeah, you got more books than I do. You've been back collecting less time, but you do all those crazy back issue runs where you'll go to a shop and come back with like 80 issues. I should just come to visit Breen with a U-Haul and help him organize those books back to my house. Eric, you should start a reading library, says Marania. Lord is in the house. Hey, Ash, he says. Good to see you. I also skipped over to Helam. I didn't mean to. Good to see you, Tehillim. Let's see. Let's. RDV says that comic collection. He has his own LCS. RDV says 1, 2, 3 when you rewind Ash's stream. I should end my streams with 1, 2, 3, right? Nah. I read 3 comics while I was waiting. You read comics too fast, RDV. That's too much. Lord says join the cause to take Ash down. I don't know where you're taking me down from. I haven't achieved anything, but I guess we all have to have a cause. Wondering what happened with Quirks' pulp stream. Eric says I'm here. I'm working on the room, but listening in. Oh, all right. I didn't get to see you're doing something special. You didn't let me know. I feel left out. Dragon Ball Talk is here. He says, what if Breen sold $15 mystery comic book lots on eBay? I'd buy one. I don't know. Breen he doesn't buy books to collect. He buys books to read. So he buys a lot of stuff in like reading condition, not in collector condition. So if you were a collector, you probably wouldn't want to buy his books. But if you were to read, like if you're like, oh, I just want fun stuff to read, then maybe that. Raise Ash up, Lord. Donate him some comicsology books. Dragon is trying to get everyone to donate me books, which no one needs to do. I mean, it would help in the fact that I don't have a huge budget for comics. In fact, I'm looking at having to pare down my pull list. Did you guys see that Detective Comics that came out? Was it this week or last week? I just picked up my books on Wednesday, and I had missed a week. And holy crap, that thing is like a graphic novel. it's freaking fat. I knew it was going to be thick, but wow, it's. If you put Detective Comics 1000 and Action Comics 1000 together, backed like side, like it, I think it's thicker than that. And I know it's not. They must have used really thick paper on it to expand it, because I was shocked at how thick that was. I had to use a Silver Age bag and board to fit. It wouldn't fit in a normal comic book bag. Let's see. Josh had a family issue tonight. I guess you're talking about what happened to his stream. Detective Comics 1027 was crap, says RDV. Wow. That's saying a lot, because RDV he's kind of the opposite of me. Like, where I'm very snobbish on my books, RDV has very, how do I say this in a non-insulting way? Like, not discriminating tastes. He's okay with stuff that I would turn my nose up. Speaking of turning your nose up, hopefully you guys have a nice beverage. I'm drinking one with my pinky extended Stella Artois, because beer needs to have a snobby name. Gotta drink it when it's ice cold. Dragon Ball says, I like Doom 2099. His armor is so cool. I agree, it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the original Doom armor, though. So Dr. Doom is probably my favorite comic book character ever. It used to be Wolverine, but Marvel spent the last 30 years ruining him. So let's see. RDV says, not worth buying. Well, I already bought it. Not worth the money. 2 stories were great. Well, it's 144 pages for $10. So people always tell me, and I always argue this, so I'm like, feel like I'm taking the other side now. You're getting a lot of pages for your dollar. Like, it's $10, 144 pages. Your average comic book is 20 pages. So that's 7 comics worth, right? And at $4 a comic, 7 times 4, that'd be $28 of comics you're getting for 10. Is it still not worth the money? Because I have a feeling it's going to not be as crappy as most Marvel books. I don't know. Here's the thing, and I grimaced when they announced this book months ago. I was like, I was all okay for Detective Comics 1000 and Action Comics 1000. 100%, especially when Action Comics 1000 was only $7.99. I was like, I was out there just cheerleading that book. I was like, this is only $7.99. It's 100 pages, prestige format. This is a steal. DC is not trying to, to exploit you. And then 2 months later, Detective Comics comes out and it's $9.99 on like the same page count. I was like, wait a second, what's going on? But I was okay because that only happens once in a lifetime, I mean, it took 80 years to get there. And those books to me were like just paying for a celebration, like joining in on the hurrah, they reached this milestone, and having that milestone issue. I still never even read my Action Comics 1000, to be fairly honest. I read the Detective, but I ended up getting that book and then getting behind, and I knew it didn't matter because it was an anthology. And then I need to go actually read it. People were telling me that's not that good, Ash. And I was like, that's another thing. I was really pissed about Bendis taking over, and Tomasi getting his run cut off and everything, even though Action wasn't his book, but you know what I'm saying. So I was kind of a little butthurt on that. Yeah. Anyways, I was okay with that. But 1027, it's not even a milestone. The 1000th appearance of Batman in Detective Comics was 1026. They didn't even get the number right. So when they announced it, I was like, oh man. And at first I was like, this is stupid. But then I went back and I was like, they've been doing this since, I think it was like 500, the 500s, maybe. Eric Breen would probably know for sure. But they've been doing this for quite a while. The 27, actually it used to be 26. I'm pretty sure 526, or maybe it was 626, was like the first time they're like, ooh, make special deal. I'd have to go look it up again. But when I saw that and I'm like, oh, they've been doing it every 100 issues, I'm less upset because this isn't like a brand new exploitive thing. Really weird though that they did it on the 26th every time, and this time it's the 27th. Like, it's not like because that would make me think it was like a first time mistake. Because if they had never done it and they didn't think about the numbering, they were just like, oh yeah, 20 Detective Comics 27 was the first appearance of Batman, so 1027th is the 1000th appearance. Like, when you don't think about the math, it seems to be. But they obviously knew it for years and years and years, because 826, 926 is all special issue. So it's weird that I don't know what DC's doing. So my whole point is, I'm rambling on and on and on about this, was I was not excited. I was actually very annoyed. I was like, I don't want to pay for a $10 fucking anthology book. Pardon my language. Because like Venkman is talking about, I did not expect it to be good. I was actually pleasantly surprised with Detective Comics 1000. It was mostly decent stories, but the problem with anthology books is you put some creator and writer and artist team on it, and you say, okay, here, write 6 pages, right? Or even if it's like 16 pages, you get less than a comic book's worth of story, and they just come up with some little podunk like, oh, hey, Batman did this, and the end. And okay, it's quaint, I guess. It's just, I don't know. Now, if the anniversary issue was like the culmination of a big lead-in story that had been building up, and then the story ran in, like, that's what you should do to me. I don't want to see the anthologies. Like I said, for 1000, I was okay because it was like a big celebration. 1027 seems kind of like, hey, cash cow. But then actually holding it in my hands, now again, I haven't read it yet, but holding it in my hands, I'm like, this is beefy. This is a shit ton of comic for $10, I'm upset that I had to pay $10, but Marvel charged $8.99 for Spider-Man 800, and it was staple bound, like 80 pages. So yeah, I guess I'll read it, and it's going to take a while to read that book. Jeez. Um, Savage Avengers issue 1 and 2 and 3 were crap, and I bought it and I loved it, says Dragon Ball. Well, at least you recognize they were crap. At least it is totally okay to like crap. Like, that's fine. Today for lunch I had Burger King, because they have a special. You get the the 8 chicken nuggets for $1. So I'm out and about, and it's lunchtime, and I was like, I don't really want to spend money on lunch, and I was like, oh yeah, Burger King, $1. And that was my lunch, was 8 chicken nuggets, and they're fine, like for $1, like they taste fine. I wouldn't tell people like, dude, if you had the Burger King chicken nuggets, they're amazing. Like, no, I wouldn't. I would just be like, I enjoy them. I enjoy McDonald's chicken nuggets actually too. Like, I know that they're crap. A better example is actually the McDonald's McRib. That thing, I'm a sucker for it every time it comes out, and I know it's one of the crappiest things ever, but I always have to have one every year. So it's okay. Like the crap that we all have I like to call them guilty pleasures. One of my favorite movies is a total guilty pleasure, and it's a crap movie by all critical accounts, is Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to go check it out. And it's crap, but it's totally endearing crap. Like for me, it tickles the right parts. I just love it. Let's see. RDV says, we have switched sides. I don't think so, RDV. I'm pretty sure we haven't switched sides. Ash wanting to play the devil's advocate. Yeah, I always do play devil's advocate. That's kind of one of my... was that a personality quirk? Some people don't like it. Eric Breen says, Detective 1027 was a disappointment. The Kelly Sue DeConnick story was arguably the best story in the book. Oh, well, Breen says it's a disappointment. Well, he hates everything, though. Breen, I don't understand. Breen, I don't understand you. You don't take my recommendations. You go and you buy other books, and then you're always disappointed. You should listen to my recommendations. I don't steer you wrong. But this is what happens as I get these books. This is what happened with Action Comics. It came out, and everyone's like, oh, it's such a disappointment. And then I was like, well, Jesus, 100-page book it's got like 9 stories in it. And I was like, I just don't have any enthusiasm to read it because everyone said it was disappointing. Like, so now I've got this big, fat, 144-page gigantic monstrosity that everyone's like, oh, it was a disappointment. I'm like, I really got to pour through it. Maybe I can do a video on it. It'd be like my longest review video ever. Eric says 526 was the 500th anniversary appearance. So they did it back on 500 issues ago. So yeah, I was right. Ronnie says, I remember when it was 35 or 65 cents for 32 plus pages, not counting ads. Every book, every month. 64 or 100 page books were a big deal. $5 for 20 pages and a ton of ads is frankly a ripoff overall. Well, I'm not arguing that. Comics are more expensive than they have ever been, and that's including inflation. They are way too overpriced, and this is all due to the comic collapse of the late 90s and early 2000s. And what happened was, and Marvel leads the way on this. This is the problem too, is DC is like a little puppy dog. They follow Marvel down these freaking, Marvel jumps off a cliff and DC's like, hey, we're right behind you. I just don't get it. But, Marvel's losing money hand over fist, and, they're trying to, people working there trying to justify their jobs and everything. So instead, they needed to build revenue. And so in order to build revenue, what they couldn't do, not because it was impossible, but because they were inept, was raise sales and make comics more successful and make money. So what they did was cut costs, and they ended up painting themselves into a corner. They fired all the editors, replaced them with interns that are just basically copy editors. They're not editors in the real sense anymore. They got rid of inkers. So for a while, like even artists weren't even inking their stuff. It was just the colorist colored pencils. It was just jacked. Fans started getting really pissed, so they brought inking back, but they don't actually, for the most part, don't pay for separate inkers. What they do is they pay the penciler an extra rate or whatever to ink themselves. And I think part of that also comes to the fact that the page rates have dropped, or at least, at the very least, never went up. So we're still paying pencilers today what we paid them back in the early 90s. Like 30 years later, the page rate is still the same. It's not good. So a lot of pencilers just want to ink themselves so they can make, some extra scrap. And so you got that. Then they raised the price of the books. They kept doing all these things like that to get revenue, but that's painting yourself into a corner because eventually you get to a dead end. Like, right? You can't hire cheaper than Tumblr writers, right? Tumblr writers are already making essentially less than minimum wage to write these books, and you can't find people willing to do less than that. Maybe you could find some people that would do free, but they would just be probably even like they've already got the bottom of the barrel is my point. And now they're also like, well, we can't raise the prices anymore because our quality sucks. We're barely like justifying people paying $3.99 for our books as it is. We got to reboot our books over and over and over, like every 5 or 6 issues, because people only buy these number ones. The sales drop off. They're in this really bad point. And how do you justify it? Once you've established this known quantity of your company and your product as being of low quality, people aren't willing to really go out and pay much money for it. It kind of made me think about that at Burger King today. I was like, man, when I was young back in the 80s, like Burger King was like one of the nicer fast food chains. Like that was where you went if you wanted a little bit better than the cheapy shit McDonald's or whatever. Like Burger King, like they flame broiled their burgers and you could order it your way. I don't know if you old farts in the room like me will remember this. Like ordering it your way was a big deal, because if you went to McDonald's, like you didn't customize your burger. It's like you could pick the onions off if you don't want them. And that was like a big deal. Now Burger King is the cheap of the cheap. It's, and once you've established that, you can't go, it's hard to go back. It's hard to go and have, like, say you want to get more deluxe, higher quality product. Well, people have already established that you're shitty or low quality. So it's like, oh, we got this new deluxe burger. It's, it's $7.99. Like people are like, Burger King? Fuck no. I'm not paying that. I get my burgers there for $1, like, and that's what Marvel's kind of reminds me of. It's like that thing where it's like, everyone, there's a joke. And to fix that problem, it takes a long time. It takes a long commitment and a long-term vision, 5 to 10 years of just committing to a quality change and probably eating your losses and saying, look, we know we're not going to get sales, but we've got to commit to quality writing, quality art, pay what it takes to get it, bite the bullet and not make money for the vision of a long term down the road. Our sales will increase and we'll eventually be making money because we'll be back into that selling 200,000 to 300,000 issues of a book again. That's what Marvel should be doing. That's what Jim Shooter did when he took over in the 70s. Like, he was focused on the long-term viability of the industry, of the company, if you will. It wasn't focusing like, tomorrow I'm going to make, as much money as I can this month. It's how do I, in 10 years, how can Marvel be more successful than it is today? Anyways, I went way off into the weeds there. Let's see. Hey Ash, SheHulk was pretty good. I am True Skills. How you doing? Good to see you. I won't know because I ain't buying that shit. Do you see that cover for the She-Hulk? Oh my God, it's embarrassing. Let's see. Bloodsport was good. Van Damme was hardcore in that, says Dragon Ball. Yeah, it wasn't a good movie though. I mean, by all intents and purposes, the acting was terrible. The dialogue, so many things are bad about that movie. But sometimes you take bad and you throw it together and it works, you know? Look at my whole identity is based around Evil Dead, you know? That's a shit movie. But it's shit in a good way. It's kind of like Gabby Rivera, you know? Like, it's America. It's a national treasure. Van Damme would TKO Dukes. I don't know. I know there's been some controversy about Frank Dukes, but I don't know. Eric says, "Did you say something, Ash? I wasn't listening." No, Eric, go back to your secret project room that you don't share with me. Thought we were friends. Anyways, Dragon Ball says Alfred will come back from an alternate reality where he never died, or they will clone a young Alfred who gets his own book called Young Alfred. God help us. I hope not. And blame Neil Adams in part for his switch to the high-quality paper, which upped the prices. His daughter used to own and work for the paper company, as I recall. Yeah, you know, the original upgrade to the higher paper was Baxter paper. And it did up the prices of the books. But when your industry is successful, and it was in the late 80s when the Baxter paper sort of became a thing, and you're selling over 500,000 issues of a comic, you could do it. The direct market was starting to take over the newsstand market, you know, because and the direct market and the newsstand are two different things. Newsstand had a lot of people who were just like kids that went to the 7-Eleven, saw a comic on the rack, and was like, "Yeah, Spider-Man, cool." They didn't care about high quality paper and all this stuff. But comic book stores had become a thing and had been around, you know, like 10 solid years of, you know, of building, becoming more popular, becoming part of the culture. Collecting comics was becoming like this thing. And the people that bought comics and, you know, had pull lists at stores and things like this, it was a whole new way of buying comics. And so it just made sense to have better quality books, because fans wanted it, and they were selling. The problem is what Marvel's done recently is they do these gimmicks and whatever to raise the prices, not because they're selling, but the opposite, because they're not selling. And that's like you're trying to gimmick your way out of a sales issue. Marvel in the past was like, "Hey, we're selling fantastic. Like, how can we offer more like value to our books?" You know, because back then, you got to remember, like, fans ate it up. When the Baxter paper came out, we weren't just like, "What the hell is this crap? Go back to newsprint." We were like, "Hey, this is cool. Look at this paper. Like, you can." And then they were able to do like better coloring because the newsprint doesn't hold the color separation as well. And so it overall improved comic books, but you're right, in the long term, like, that did contribute to the prices that we're at. They're not $3.99 because of the paper though, right? These comics are $3.99 because they don't sell enough books. If comics sold 200,000 plus issues, like your average book, they wouldn't need to be $3.99. The volume would make up for the difference. The problem is when your average book sells 25,000 copies. You know, DC just recently, you know, they pared down their line, this big hoopla, and had to fire a bunch of people. They had to admit that 25% of their line wasn't even breaking even. They were losing money on their books. Now think about this. Marvel has higher cost books, and they're shittier quality. And they sell less. Marvel has books like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which sell so low you can't even count them. It's like single digit thousands. They gotta be losing money on these books. Yeah. Let's see. Computer Robots is here. What's up, my friend? Oh, Ash, we love it when you're a grumpy old fart. Well, I don't know about you mean we. Not everyone loves it, but I appreciate your support on that. Let's see. Melissa says, I prefer the real Alfred. I do too. They need to bring Alfred back. Killing Alfred was absolutely retarded. Absolutely. Like, they didn't even make a fuss about it. It was like, oh, Alfred's dead. No, here's a rest in peace issue. Like, think about that. You know, when Superman died, you had the death of Superman. Like, it was a big deal. Like, DC didn't even bother to like make a big deal out of it. They just sort of just off him. And furthermore, they didn't consider that Alfred is more than just a side character in a Batman book that you can do without. Alfred has a purpose. He's a necessity to the Batman mythos. He's the father figure that Batman never had. He's the guy that gets to question Batman and be like, you know, maybe you're going too far. Like, he's the guy that reins him in. And I kind of see what they were doing with Tom King. And, you know, Tom King is like, got Catwoman in the picture and they're going to get married. And that's going to be the wife's role. And there's no place to have Alfred anymore. I kind of see what you're doing, which is why I always disagreed with Catwoman and Batman getting married in the first place. Like, this isn't a soap opera. Comic books aren't meant to evolve. And I know some people are going to give me some flack on this, but it's true. They aren't meant to evolve. Comic books are a snapshot in time. Peter Parker was always designed to be a student who had gotten powers, and he was awkward, and he didn't really know how to fit in socially, but as Spider-Man, he could. That's just the way that it is. Now, you can have micro evolutions in the story. You know, it was okay when Peter Parker and Mary Jane got married. Like, that was something that had been built up for like 40 years. You know, was it 40 years? No, it wasn't 40 years. Marvel hadn't been around. Been 25 years. That was the 25th. I don't remember exactly. Breen will know. He'll correct me. He always does, if he's bothering to listen. Yeah, I just think that, I don't know. The Alfred thing is stupid. It's like getting rid of Jonathan, or aging up Jonathan Kent. It's the same thing to me. You got rid of the Jonathan Kent that we had. You know, he's technically still there as a different variation, but he's not the same thing. It was like when Rick Grayson got shot in the head. Sorry, Rick. I still call him Rick Grayson. When Dick Grayson got shot in the head and he became Rick Grayson, fans were upset. I tried to embrace the storyline because I like catalysts for change. I like things that can happen. You know, I was a big fan of the Nightfall scene when Batman got his back broken. We knew Batman was going to come back, but the idea that there was a character that could do that to him, it was interesting to see, well, how's this going to affect him, you know? And that was the same thing I was with Dick Grayson. I was like, oh, he got shot in the head, he's amnesia. Like, how is this going to affect the character in the long run? That was what I was interested in. What I didn't like was, oh, he's not Dick Grayson, he's Rick Grayson. We basically killed off Nightwing. And he's technically still there, but he's a different person. Why? That you just kill him then. Like, you know, it's like the Spider-Man One More Day, you know. You killed off the relationship, the marriage between Peter Parker and Mary Jane, which had become iconic at that point. You had gone too far with the relationship. You'd cemented it that it never should be undone. You know, it'd be like breaking up Sue and Reed Richards, right? Like, and being like, Sue goes off and she divorces Reed and marries Submariner or something. You'd just be like, what? Or like what's happening in the X-Men right now, that Scott's not interested in Jean Grey. He's with Emma Frost, and Wolverine's porking Jean Grey in the next room, that they have adjoining rooms. It's weird and stupid. Anyways, sorry. RDB says, I prefer the real Ash. Bring back the real Ash. What's the real Ash? I'm not the real. I went too far down. Dragon Ball says dollar store got $1 microwave cheeseburgers that are way better than Burger King. Check out your local dollar store. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Artie says, "Wow, you changed your name now? What are you talking? I don't know what you're talking about. Did someone mention National Treasure Gabby Rivera?" Says Eric. Yes, that'll always bring Breen running. In Bloodsport, Van Damme would kick butt and yell "die" as he was doing it. Plus, Old Evil Dead is so terrifying and it's awesome. Yeah, but they're both bad movies. Let's see. Ronnie says, I argue that white newsprint will hold the color separations at least as well as the high quality paper they use now. Newspapers and store ads use white newsprint and the photo quality is good. I disagree. You can see this problem with Alterna Comics, who I'm a big supporter of, but a couple of the books I have from Alterna, they reprinted from overseas. Like one of them is Exilum, and that book is digitally colored, but it looks like crap on the newsprint. It's fine. You're paying $1.50, so you're not crying. You're not like, oh, but it just doesn't work. The newsprint is too porous to have that finely colored, the separation like that. It doesn't work. But like I said, I would still be okay if you could go back to the coloring on the late newsprint. Like if you look at the Jim Lee, the Uncanny X-Men run before they went to the new X-Men, and that's when they switched to the Baxter paper. It was the newsprint up to that point. If you look at that paper, like that coloring, like I would be okay with that if the books were $2 an issue, $1.50, $2. Totally. I don't need my comics to be super, high quality. Like I don't want $4 or $5 comics. They're supposed to be disposable. They're supposed to be the price of a candy bar. RDV says, get it right. Wolverine is porking Cyclops. Cyclops is sloppy seconds after Jean Grey. That talk about cucking someone. Holy crap. Alfred brings old school British class to Batman. He's ex-secret agent, an actor who became Batman's butler. Well, he was Thomas Wayne's butler and stayed on. I don't know how much I enjoy the whole secret agent stuff. I think that goes too far with Alfred, but what are you going to do? Eric says 22 years dating off and on for about 14 of them. Oh, you're talking about Spider-Man, I think. Wolverine got a son. He better not pork Cyclops. Too late, Dragon. Too late. Cyclops and Wolverine are gay in the woke SJW Marvel, and segregationists and ethno-supremacists, and Kitty Pryde is a forced lesbian, Iceman is a stereotypical gay man out of a bad comedy film. I got Melissa triggered again. Computer Robot says, Ash, please review Hellions just for me. That means I gotta read it. I'm already way behind. Dragon says, too many big words for me, Melissa. Oh, man. Speaking of big words, here's a word. It's called empathy. And I just happened to come across this on the DC page. You want to talk about DC Comics destroying things? They destroyed Alfred, and now they've done this. This, in my opinion, is almost equivalent to the Jonathan Kent. Damian Wayne started off as a little jackass from Grant Morrison. But once Peter Tomasi got a hold of Batman and Robin, and he was then writing Superman and then Super Sons, he got in and started revolutionizing the characters, like really fine-tuning him, if you will. And sometimes a really good creator can come onto a character and do something like that. You know, we've talked about Walt Simonson came in on Thor and just honed him down. Frank Miller did that to Daredevil. Chris Claremont on X-Men. Sometimes you just need that right creator with the right vision of a character or a title to take it and just slightly alter it to a different course and get it firing on all cylinders. And he took a character that I thought was shit. And rightly so. A lot of people didn't like and just made this an endearing character. And it not only did you make the character of Damian better, but I thought it made the character of Batman better. And DC's like, nope, fuck that shit. We're done. We're fucking this all up. Like they can't stop fixing things that aren't broken. They literally just, oh, is this a good idea? Cancel it. New Age of Heroes? No, murder that shit. We can't have cool new books that people are interested in. Jonathan Kent, Super Son successful. Bring in the Bendis, cancel that shit, gone. No. Best Superman run in 10 to 20 years with Peter Tomasi? Nope. Bzz. Cancel that shit. Hawkman, redefining, you want to talk about redefining moment of a character, I attribute Venditti's run of Hawkman is one of those things. It's not that Hawkman hasn't been good before, but Venditti came in and was like, Hawkman just kind of needs this extra little piece that's missing. And he put that in there and you go, oh, it makes all sense. It's cool now. Like this is that one thing that makes the character next level. And nope, cancel that shit. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, DC? You commit to quality. I understand fans don't see things right away, right? X-Men, for example, was on the verge of cancellation. The whole reason they did the all new, all different X-Men is because X-Men was being canceled. They were reprinting the books. They weren't even, each issue that was coming out was a reprint. It was printed before and they just kept the numbering going. It was kind of a weird fraudulent thing. If they did that today, we would cry so foul. No one was buying X-Men. And so they had to do this radical change to it. And that sparked some interest because the characters, admittedly were some interesting. Visually, those characters were very interesting. The concept of making characters from all over the world was kind of a novel one because they weren't trying to do forced diversity, but they're trying to do is seek out and be like, look, we want to have a global audience. And so, if we're selling comics in Russia, it helps us to have a Russian character on the team type of thing. And even then it didn't start going until Chris Claremont and John Byrne came on. And then it was like wildfire. But even then that wildfire started off as, a slow little, I don't forget what you call it when you like little burning, kindling when, before it went full blaze. It took a couple years. It didn't it wasn't like Chris Claremont jumped on and everyone was like, oh, let's all buy this book now. It has to spread word of mouth and sometimes it takes time. But if you're constantly rebooting titles every year, you don't give a chance for word of mouth to build. By the time the word of mouth builds, by the time I jumped on Super Sons, because I was like, oh, that book looks so stupid. I can't believe it's got Damian Wayne, this stupid little Superboy kid. Lame. I don't care what everyone says about it. And I was listening and people were like arguing with me. No, Ash, you don't understand. It's really good. Da, 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 da. And I was like, whatever, you like your stuff. And then I was reading Tomasi's Superman, in which, of course, the Super Sons appear in there, especially Jonathan Kent. And I was like, wow, I actually really like this Jonathan Kent character. This storyline is really good. Like, oh. And so I was like, I'm wrong about this. I'm gonna jump on this Super Sons thing. It's written by Tomasi as well, so it's got to be good. So I jumped in on issue 13. The literally the issue I bought the issue, and like a week or two later they announced they were canceling it. I was like, you mother effers, what are you doing? But that's what pushes fans away, because the word of mouth, it took 13 issues to hit me, to get me to go, okay, you sold me. Okay, I was a tough sell, but you sold me. I'm going to get this book. We're canceling it. Like, anyways, I just thought this picture was very touching, emotional, and rest in peace, Damien. Though you're not dead, you might as well be. Let's see. Only Melissa Harris can save Marvel and DC, says Computer Robots. All right, I'm not going to talk about gay X-Men anymore because it's gay. We can move on. I'm going to get into comics. Now, tonight, for you, my friends, I think I have some good stuff. First is a book called Eclipse. Now, the books that I have tonight, I have not read. So both selections tonight will be live reactions. Now, you may be looking at this book and go, what the hell is this, Ash? So this is a book that I bought a while back on a Comixology sale, like a while back, like when I got into comics. Well, not into comics originally. When I got back into comics in 2018, there was this guy, Zach Kaplan, and he was a writer, as you can tell probably by the credits or whatever. He was writing a comic called Port of Earth, and I have those books too. And this was at the height of the Comicsgate thing, and I was really big into Comicsgate. I was very vocal on the outside. I didn't have a YouTube channel, so I didn't have anyone like really noticing me per se, except on Twitter. But I was very much, in my heart, I was big, I should say. I wasn't like I wasn't Zach, our boy Zach, I wasn't like a big time. But in my heart, I was very passionate about it. And I still am in many ways. I hate it, it's just evolved beyond Comicsgate. It's become this massive cancel culture, we see it. And so this guy, Zach Kaplan, was kind of caught into that whole thing. And he was talking shit about Comicsgate. And I, replied back to him, and I was like, basically told him how wrong he was and all this stuff. And if you've interacted with me on Twitter, I can be very contentious and very opinionated and so forth, but I really try not to just be an asshole. I don't call people names, and I don't attack them. I will argue points, but I don't have any desire to insult people, personally. So I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like, no, Zach, Zach, his name's Zach too, coincidentally, you're wrong about this, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, like a couple weeks later, he made a post on Twitter talking about how he looked into things and turned out like he had changed his mind. Like he wasn't pro Comicsgate, but he was like, it's actually not as bad as people are saying, and this and that, and like there's a lot of misinformation being spread, and I've looked into it, and there's some good people, da-da-da. And I was like, that's all I want. Like, I just wanted, and he was just professional about it. And so I wrote him again, and I was like, look, man, I don't expect for you to have to agree with my points of view, but I appreciate, that you're professional and you're willing to look at both sides of an argument. You don't just like close your mind and, plug your ears and be like, la, 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 I'm not listening to you, which is what you typically get on things like Twitter. But you explored, you heard opposing arguments. You listened to people who opposed you. You went and investigated yourself. And then you had the balls to go and publicly post that we had points. Like, you didn't fully concede. You weren't like, I'm pro Comicsgate. Like, you didn't do it, but you were just, hey, you know what? These people have some points and they're not bad and da-da-da-da. And you took a very reasonable, genuine approach. And it just really struck me. And back then, WW's kidnapped Ash and took over his stream. I need to fix my setup. What's wrong with my setup? Everything's working. What's going on? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get in the comic. I thought something was wrong with the stream, but everything seems to be fine. You guys, hopefully this turns out to be good. Hopefully it was a good buy. It's a sci-fi book. And let's get... Oh, I need to go full screen. Boom. All right, here. Oh, I need a swig of beer. Hold on. It's probably going to make me burp in the middle of the middle of the readings. All right, here we go. Eclipse, published by Top Cow Productions. Dear readers, Eclipse is my first comic book. 8 years ago, I dreamed of writing a comic book. I was also working a graveyard shift as a poker dealer. I toiled at night and slept during the day. I'd studied writing in school, but not yet found success. I was living a lifestyle different than most. I was disconnected from my friends and my family. Looking back, I can say my life was facing darkness. But I've always tried to see the bright side of things, and that's what Eclipse is really about to me. Being hopeful in dark times. On behalf of the entire Eclipse creative team, I want to thank Matt Hawkins and Top Cow for giving us a chance to tell this story. We want to thank everyone at Top Cow and Image Comics for helping us every step of the way. We want to thank every comic reviewer and blogger and podcaster and fan who offered a kind word about Eclipse. And we want to thank you, yes you, the reader, for picking up this comic and reading it. I buy a lot of comics, but many land on the shelf and wait to be read. I don't know anything about that. It takes commitment to read a comic book. I hope you find Eclipse thrilling and entertaining and maybe a little thought-provoking. We hope you connect to it. We'd love for you to stay connected. Reach out on social media. The world and story of Eclipse are just getting started. Chapter 1. Oop, I'm not on story mode. Boop. Doo-dee-doo-da-doo. Attention, curfew is now in effect. All right, people, clear the area. Let's go, move it. Down we all go. Come on, come on. But, Mommy, I want to see the horsey. The sun's coming, sweetie. We have to go. Please seek shelter immediately. Maybe he decided to go home. My boyfriend wouldn't just leave us. Yeah, what if something happened to him? Look, girls, if he's out here, we'll find him before sunrise. Now it's curfew. And everyone goes under, and that means both of you. Move it. Clear. We're clear here. Broadway's clear. Lock it up. Attention. Beep. Curfew is now beep in effect. Beep. Chunk chunk. Beep. Man, talk about calling it close. I'm assuming something happens when it comes down to 0. I don't know. Please seek shelter immediately. Sun will melt your skin off. That's because 10 years ago, the world suffered a cataclysmic solar event. Science geniuses say the Z4 solar flare had energy equal to 2 trillion megatons of TNT hitting Earth. All I know is billions of people died. The flare didn't just cripple us. Nobody knows if it changed the sun or our atmosphere or the planet or what. But it changed things. I found it, Base. Damn armadillos chewed right through the H2B65 coupling. Can you patch it, Bax? Yeah, I'm on it. Few of us survived the flare. Took years to adjust. If you call this adjustment. Bax, we need you over at Times Square right away. What's up? Best if you just double over now. How'd the patrols miss him, or the cameras? Don't you see? Whoever did it to him made sure to avoid all that. And how'd they avoid being burned? They would have had to put him here after the sunrise. There's Bax. Hey, over there. Hey, over here. You seeing this, Bax? This ain't no drunk or some straggler getting left outside the gates. You ever seen anything like this before? Writing on the wall. They were scorched. And because they had no root. Matthew 13:6. I guess we know what happens if you get caught in the sun. That's pretty gruesome. He was murdered. Someone abducted him, waited for sunrise, and burned him. How else do you explain how they wrote that Bible shit in his blood? He's right. Murdering bastard must have watched while the poor guy burned. So, the murderer had an Iceman suit. No way. Black market don't have our gear. Then you know what that means. It must have been one of you who did it. So we live at night now. Nocturnal. And underground. And everyone accepts it. They fight on with their lives. I'm not sure I'm ready. You messing with me? I said the food too. You want to die, old man? Give him the damn food. Not sure I'll ever be ready. That's it. They never give up. Knock, knock, knock. Eli Manning and the New York Giants have defeated the New England Patriots. Roof, 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 roof. Roof, 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 roof. All right. Quiet down. Hey, doggies. Which one of you is David Baxter? That my Giants I hear? Super Bowl 42? Damn, that's one of the best ones, huh? Can I help you? The company wants to see you. My shift is at 5. Brandt himself wants you. Let's not make a thing of it. You a cop? Sometimes. Sometimes I help Brandt with company security issues. Sometimes I help the company catch electricity thieves. You on the grid here? Maybe I should take a look. That's all right. Don't want to keep Brandt waiting. You were one of the guys who helped the mayor on the day of the flare. You guys saved the city. Not exactly. Yeah, I heard stories about it. You were a hero. Someone else, maybe. Ding. Right. We were all someone else then, huh? Celerity, can you please hold? Mr. Everly, Mr. Baxter, welcome. Mr. Brandt is waiting right this way. David, thanks for coming. You know my brother Wallace, and this is our General Counsel, Robert Snyder. Are we still underground? They're UHD TV screens. We mounted cameras outside to broadcast the feed. Feels more normal, don't you think? Things we do with money. Things we do for a better life. That what we're talking about today? A better life? A safer life, James. Go ahead. We need you to show my crew how to use the Iceman suits. Operate in the sun. Why me? You have logged more hours in the suit than most. You have the right experience and you can be trusted. What's this really about? You witnessed the horrible burning murder in Times Square yesterday. The killer avoided cameras. Police have no leads except this. The victim was Samuel Van Gorn. This death threat came to him 2 days ago. The writing is the same that was on the building. Give us your oil, for your lamps are gone out. Matthew 25:8. And yesterday another came to Rose. Rose? Does she know? No, and I don't want her to. This is Ken Corning. You know him, right? North Iceman team foreman. He's missing. So is his suit. Ken's a family man. He couldn't have done this. Vitamin D deficiency, sun overexposure. You know there are a number of reasons why Icemen go bad. We'll never catch Corning if he's hiding in daylight. But we can if we let Rose go about her life and wait for him to come to us. You want to use your daughter as bait? If I hide from this, someone else could be killed next. Hold on. I really don't know why it logs me out in the middle of reading a book. Come on, Amazon. Get your shit together. And I got to fast forward to where we were because it doesn't remember. Almost there. There we go. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. Dragon Ball says it's another dimension, alien invasion. I don't know what you're talking about. YouTube was lagging bad. Wait, it's back. It's not aliens. What are you guys talking about? Is my stream really lagging for you guys? Let's see what's going on at the. Turn up the volume. Is my stream really lagging for you? Oh yeah. Well. Seems to be going okay there. I don't know. I can't listen to it live while I talk, though. RDV says, Eric, it did that to me as well. That was weird. It could be. Let me check. It says YouTube's telling me I have an excellent connection. Oh, maybe there's a hiccup. I did start actually utilizing a lower latency stream so that there's less delay in me talking and you hearing. So that could have a problem. Let's see. RDV says, is this a vampire book? Oh, never mind. I looked it up. Ash on speed reading comics. RDV says it was 10 minutes ago. I did a bad loop. It's been fine for a while now. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm caught up in the chat. We'll get back to the book. All right, if I hide this from someone else, someone else could be killed next. Besides, Rose is a wild party girl. We can't lock her up forever. But we can protect her. I'm no bodyguard. But you can help, David. It's a favor for me. If you think it's dangerous, protect her, please. They handle the killer. All I do is teach them the suits. Thank you. Thank you. Radiation levels go up by noon, so adjust accordingly. This regulates the NO2. Is that nitrous oxide? This regulates the NO2. More NO2, cooler the suit. Maxed out, you have 4 hours. How do you move in these things? Practice makes perfect. Murphy, how's everyone in there? Drunk kids, loud music, best detail ever. Day clubs, what do you expect? You don't like partying at noon, Pool? I don't like taking chances. There's movement on the rooftops. Maybe Bax knows why a guy like Brant would take such a chance with his own daughter. Any ideas, Bax? Here's an idea. I'm going to check the roof. Oh, it was Bax talking. The lettering in this book is not the best. It's, here's an idea. I'm going to check the roof. Whoosh. We got a problem up here. Nobody panic. The roof may not be stable, so everyone out as calmly as possible. Problem in here, too. Water's flooding down from the roof. It ain't secure in here. We're coming out with Rose. It's no accident. Someone bashed in the pipes up here. Okay. We're on our way in to meet you. Be on alert. Front entrance is too crowded. We're coming out the back now. You out, Murph? We're fine, here in the shadows. Vroom, vroom. Screech. Holy shit. Get down. Murph, what's happening? What's going on? Just using a mirror. Oh, man. I'm here to help. Hold on. Blam, blam. I got you. Thanks. Everly, the team is dead, but I got Rose. I go by Cielo now, Chief. Now let's get out of here. Help me with this. I won't fit through here. Well, I'm not going down alone. Everly, we're heading underground. You copy? He's not burning. He's not burning. Why the hell is he not burning? All right, that's the end of chapter 1. This is a trade paperback instead of a comic book, so I have to make sure I end at the right time. What'd you think? I think it's kind of compelling so far. Let's see. Dragon says, I thought aliens invaded DC, but it was just bad lag. Why are you guys talking about DC and aliens? I can't follow you guys. I'm that's cool. This is kind of a cool, it's like sci-fi. I like when you take common story tropes, like here it's like kind of a basic, it's kind of a mystery, like detective story. But you put it in a very interesting setting. A lot of times you can take basic stories and by radically altering the setting into something very different or fantastical or whatever, it can really up the interest level. Ronnie says, interesting premise. I look forward to episode 2. RDV says, the future's so bright I gotta wear shades. Oh, that was my phone. All right. Well, since you guys didn't have much to talk about, we'll just jump right into the next book. The next book for the evening, the main event, is Fantastic Four versus the X-Men. So this is right during the era when I got back into comics. Now, surprisingly, I have never read this. When I got into comic books as a kid, I was probably 13 or 14 when this came out. And I thought the Fantastic Four were totally stupid. I just did not have any interest in Fantastic Four. Dragon Ball says, not enough action for me, but better than Ultimate Spider. Why does everything have to be action, Dragon Ball? Sometimes it's good drama, mystery, can be just as compelling and interesting as action. Let's see. Oh, snap. Fantastic Four looks so cool. I love Doom. No homo. Hey, Ryuk is here. Hey, how you doing, Ryuk? So here's the deal. Comixology does its normal things where it has the sales. And I came across this and I was like, oh, look. Comixology is doing a Marvel X-Men crossover sale. And I was like, sweet. This will be really cool. One of my favorite stories of all time, well, not of all time, but one of my favorite comic book stories was X-Men versus the Avengers back in the 80s. That took place right around Uncanny X-Men 200. It was the trial of Magneto, and the X-Men were harboring Magneto, and the Avengers came along and were like, yo, we're taking him to trial, and the X-Men were like, come take him. And it was like a perfect setup for a fight. And it was a really fun comic. I really enjoyed that. It was like my first big crossover. Even though I wasn't an Avengers guy, I liked some of the characters in the Avengers. So I was like, man, getting to see the X-Men fight against Iron Man and Thor and Captain America, like, that was going to be cool. And it was cool. It was really fun. So I saw this and I was like, oh, Marvel X-Men crossover sale. It's all the different, like, X-Men crossovers. But you know which crossover was not available here? X-Men versus the Avengers. This one. The one that's good. The one that everyone likes. The one that has this cover. This famous cover here. Let's blow it up. Look at Rogue versus She-Hulk, Wolverine versus Black Knight. Just a cool stuff. Look how badass Thor is right there. I love this book, and I was like, oh, I'll get to read this. I'll pick it up super cheap. Nope, it's not on sale. So all the other ones, the shitty ones, the Avengers versus X-Men. If Avengers comes before, it's the shitty one. Where it's X-Men versus the Avengers, that's the good one. Look at this cool cover. I always like this one too. Issue number 3 cover. Captain America versus Wolverine was always like a really fun concept for me. But it's not really like Captain America's fighting with kind of Titanium Man. But whatever. I like that. And I didn't get to read it. So I came across this. And I was like, you know what? This came around a similar time. Really close together. And I was like, Fantastic Four, dumb. I've never read it to this day. So we're gonna get something. We're gonna get a Chris Claremont, and this is written by Chris Claremont, I'm pretty sure. So let's see. Yeah, written by Chris Claremont. This is an old Chris Claremont X-Men from back in my day that I've never read. I had forgotten about this book until I came across it, and I was like, holy shit. And now that I'm older and wiser, and I can get books digitally instead of having to find them in back issues. Avengers versus X-Men had Cable, who they turned into Boy. I Hate Boy. Oh, you're talking about Avengers versus X-Men. It's not, no. X-Men versus Avengers. That's the good one. All right, so let's get into this. Are you kidding me? Oops, there was an error. We logged you out because... You still show me logged in. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, here's that shitty ass She-Hulk that someone was talking about earlier. Look at this cover. Look at this cover and despair. God. Oops, Ash did it again, says RDV. You know what? I think I have it pulled up over here. We'll just do it live. If it'll let me. There we go. Here we go. Go full screen. I'm out of beer. I gotta drink some tea. All right. Stan Lee presents Are You Sure? Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by John Bogdanov. It's a good thing that Eric Breen goes to sleep, because he would be making fun of me for not reading this, and now he'll never know. Too bad, Eric. Snooze, you lose. This is the land of lost hope, a realm of nightmare, a place of utter, unending madness dominated by the temple of despair. As much real as a dream, there is nowhere more terrible, because it mixes what was with what is, to bring forth the shape of what might yet be, the future of a lost and lonely little boy. Daddy! You killed her! You killed Mommy! Go away, Franklin. This is no place for you. No, I won't leave. Not till you explain. Daddy, you killed them all. It was logical, Franklin. It was necessary. How could you know? How could you be certain? I'm a scientist, son. I'm always certain. This time, bub, you were wrong. Only it didn't just cost the lives of your own Fantastic Four. You killed the X-Men as well. We came to you for help. Mr. Wolverine, you're bleeding. We trusted you, Richards. We put Shadowcat's life in your hands, and because of you,
Wolverine, he's my daddy. Please don't hurt him.
It was all for nothing.
He missed. You stretched your body, Daddy, so he couldn't touch you with his claws. Mr. Wolverine? He isn't moving. Daddy, he's dead.
Then he no longer matters.
Daddy, don't talk like that.
It's the way I am, son. Nothing can change that.
Don't go up there to the bad place.
I must.
I won't let you.
Snap. How will you stop me? Every step of my life, every decision I've ever made, has led me inexorably to this moment.
No, 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 no. Don't touch the book, Daddy. Leave it alone. It's the cause of everything that's bad that's happened. Don't pick it up.
The book is labeled Reed Richards Journal, State University. You don't understand.
Don't open it.
This is the culmination of my work.
I love you, Daddy. Please, oh please, don't do this. Don't make the scary face. I love you. I love you. I love you. Take my hand. Why can't you love me? Why can't you give me a hug? Just a little hug for your little boy. Please.
Credulous child, is it so difficult to comprehend? Victor Von Doom and Reed Richards are but opposite sides of the same coin. Twins in spirit that have finally, irrevocably become one.
Daddy! Daddy's in his lab. It's where he's happiest. I'm not supposed to be here when he's working. He's always working. Daddy, I had a dream.
That's nice, son. Calibration of the antimatter synergistics wave matrices. Resonance patterns on dimensional portal. Sidereal flux mechanics. Tolerance levels fixed. Key elements shifting into alignment. Access wife. Ticked. Along nominal pathways. Sue, dear, seems to be bothering Franklin. I'm in the middle of some delicate rationalizations. Would you mind taking care of him, please? I'm very sorry, son. I can't talk to you right now. Daddy's very busy. Thank you, dear. Zip. Huh, that's cool. She got the little... You can see the little bubble. She puts them in a carry-all. Zip. There are moments when having a mom who can create and manipulate an invisible force field is just about the most incredibly wonderful thing in the whole universe. Zoom. Even when she's a little mad at you. And what, pray tell, my young man? Scooch? Are you doing up so long past your bedtime?
I had a dream, Mommy.
One of your special... Oh, my poor baby. It's all right, Franklin. Everything's all right. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're safe with me. You'll always be safe with me. You want to tell me about it?
All the Fantastic Four were in this bad place, and the X-Men too, and everybody but Daddy was dead, and he opened this awful book, and Mommy, he turned into Dr. Doom.
Doom? Is this a premonition of some attack? or normal childhood anxieties working themselves out through Franklin's dreams. Well, youngster, since you're having trouble sleeping, how about helping me unpack? We just found out about these boxes. They've been lost in storage for positively ages, since before your daddy and I were even married. Gosh, that was a long time ago. Centuries, at least. Oh, look, my grandmother's silver tea service. I thought it was lost for good. It's beautiful. So was she. I'd wish you'd known her, and my mom, too. What's this? Goodness. Reed's journal. He'll be glad we found this. I bet he's forgotten all about it. Franklin, what's wrong? Mommy, don't give it to Daddy. Throw it away. That's the book from my dream. Sunrise. Over a starkly beautiful windswept chunk of rock jutting out from the Atlantic just above Cape Wrath, off the north coast of Scotland. Moira McTaggart came to Muir Island years ago to establish her secret mutant research center. Now, the X-Men, that unsung band of outlaw mutant heroes, have followed, seeking refuge. Morning, Rogue. Havoc? Need a hand? Managing fine by myself, thanks. I'd like to help. There must be something I can do. Not here. Not with me. Unless you're a whiz at ramjet mechanics. You know I'm not. Then take a hike, boy. I'm busy. Uh-oh. No. God, this Comixology thing. It works good on the app, but the web page version of it kind of... There we go. You've got no business talking to me like that, lady. I was an X-Men long before you clowns came along. I've paid my dues. That was then, chum. Times have changed. You want a place with us, you earn it. The same way the people you're replacing did. With sweat. And blood. Oh yeah, this is right after the Mutant Massacre, which I did read on a previous episode, one of the early ones I did, and it was from Melissa, actually. There was issue 210, which is the first issue that I ever started collecting comics, was X-Men 210. Within the center's crowded infirmary lie the pitiful few survivors of the Marauders' Massacre, so named for the band of killers who ranged through the tunnels beneath New York City not long ago, slaughtering every mutant they came across. Along the wounded, X-Men, Nightcrawler, and Colossus, the one deep in coma, the other trapped in his armored form, unable to move or shift back to a human state. Next door, within a life support module, is the third X-Men casualty, Shadowcat, locked into phasing mode, transformed literally into a living ghost. Her only effective means of communication is through the team's telepath, SheHulk. Their visit over, today's examination complete, Storm, the X-Men's leader, Wolverine, and Moira McTaggart take their leave. Kitty Pryde is glad to see them go. She tries to be cheerful, to buck up their spirits, but it's hard. When she and they know she's dying, and there's nothing that can save her. The atoms of Kitty's body are drifting farther and farther apart. It's only a matter of days, Storm, before the deterioration of molecular bonding causes irreversible brain damage. Dr. McTaggart, good news. I've learned all of an experimental device by Reed Richards that may reverse Shadowcat's condition. I mean to contact him immediately. Is that wise, Magneto? The Fantastic Four probably still consider you a supervillain. And however will they learn otherwise, Storm, if I never give them the opportunity? Reed Richards is a rational and honorable man. He will know the truth when he hears it, even from my lips. Meanwhile, speeding up the Minch from the port of Ullapool with a week's worth of groceries are two more of the quartet who recently joined the team. Allison Blair, the Dazzler, and an enigmatic, other-dimensional visitor known only as Longshot. Search continues for survivors of the traveler Mary Rose, reported lost in yesterday's gale. Be careful, Longshot. Sea's still pretty rough and plenty cold. You don't want to fall in. The surface is never still, Allison, and it never moves the same way twice. Haven't you ever seen the ocean before? No, it's wonderful. Huh? Longshot! Splash. You crazy? Crumbs. I don't even know if he can swim. Sun's not up yet. With his dark outfit, on a dark sea, I won't have a prayer of spotting him. Unless I cut loose with a little light of my own. That's what Dazzler does. Takes sound and transmutes it into light of all types and colors and intensities. This morning she glows as warm and as bright as the sun. There's my boy. Cough. The big wet. It tastes awful. That's because the ocean's salt water, silly. You're not supposed to drink it. This must be one of the missing fishermen. How'd you know he was there? I don't know. Just luck, I guess. Mere Isle's the closest medical facility. Better take him there. Hearing that, the fisherman smiles, as if, strangely, sinisterly, that is precisely what he wants. Meanwhile, as the dawn rises over Scotland, night still cloaks the Manhattan headquarters of the world's greatest superhero team. Franklin Richards is tucked away snugly and soundly in his bed. And if any more dreams visit him tonight, his mother prays their gentle ones. She wishes this were a dream. Better, far better, the cruelest nightmare, than this awful reality she can no longer deny. Guess who? Hello, Reed. Sue, what is it? What's wrong? If it's about Franklin, I truly am sorry. Recognize this? Why, it's my journal. Where'd you find it? I thought it was gone for good. I wished it had been. I've read it. I suggest you do too, especially the pages relating to the rocket flight that transformed you, me, Ben, and Johnny into the Fantastic Four. While he sleeps, Franklin projects his astral form to the living room. He wants to grab the book and run away, but his image form has no solidity. It can't affect the real world, and in these heavy shadows, he can hardly be seen. All he can do is watch. Mesmerized by what's happening as the mouse is by the hunting cobra. Downtown in Greenwich Village, at Raglan's Coffee House, the air is filled with music and conversation and the smell of good, rich food. Downstairs is a bistro and some of the best jazz in the city. Up a flight is an equally renowned reference library. A body can research anything here, at any hour, day or night. Here's your coffee, Miss Walters. Jamaica Blue Mountain freshly ground, plus a snack. That's good coffee, by the way, Jamaican Blue Mountain. Lifesaver, Julie. Working on a case? Nope. I'm done with the legal racket. As a weird sort of fundraiser at my old school, they're restaging the trial of Magneto before the World Court. I got conned into being defense counsel. Looked open and shut at first, but the more I get into it, the more complex it becomes. How about some cake just out of the oven? I shouldn't. My figure. This was pre-body positivity. SheHulk. The heck with it. I'll work off the calories juggling Chevys or some... Excuse me, fella. Would you mind not fouling other people's air with that stogie? Oh.
Yeah, I do mind. This is still a free country, ain't... Oh, you.
Ben Grimm. Fancy meeting you here.
I could say the same, SheHulk. Nice duds. You playing lawyer again?
Just for the weekend. Why, you hitting the books?
Gotta recertify all my pilot's license.
Did you mean that guff about Magneto? I'd quit before defending that... Sorry. Lettering, faux pas. Actually, my bad.
Did you mean that guff about Magneto? I'd quit before defending that creep.
Everybody deserves a fair trial, Ben.
Did his victims get one?
Maybe things aren't as simple and cut and dried as that.
You're talking like you could get him off.
That's a comic panel out of context.
Once a crook, always, huh? Chaboom!
An explosion. There's another. A big one tearing out the guts of that construction site. What could have caused it?
Who cares? That building comes down. It's curtains for the entire block.
I've got the main column, so what's the plan?
Prop up the scaffolding best you can while I shore up the retaining wall of the brownstone next door before it collapses.
The damage is too severe. The whole structure's unstable. I'm not sure I can hold it.
You got to.
Raw strength isn't enough. I can't get any decent leverage. Ben, it's giving way. Oh, my girder's glowing.
Mine too, what gives? Hey, SheHulk, look it up there. Is that who I think it is?
Most perceptive thing. I am indeed Magneto. I was in the vicinity and saw your predicament. With my mastery over the powers of magnetism, I can lock the steel framework in place, preventing structural stress from tearing the building any further apart. But I will need your assistance in restoring it to its original position and condition. Brute force is our specialty, mister. Here we go.
What are you talking to him so nice for, Greenie? Creep probably blew this place up in the first place.
The Human Torch. Excellent. Quickly, lad. Use your flame to weld the main girders and braces back into place. This will be rough workmanship. The structure will most certainly have to be condemned, but at least we'll have averted a major catastrophe. I'm on it, fella. Whoa, wait a minute. What am I doing? That was Magneto. Since when do I take orders from him?
This once, it don't matter, Matchhead. The bum's talking sense. So hurry up and do as you're told. I ain't in the mood to stand around this dump till the cows come home.
With Johnny Storms and the four of them working together, the crisis is soon past. Later, at Fantastic Four headquarters at Four Freedoms Plaza, after Magneto repeated explanations for his presence, why should we trust you? No reason, save perhaps that I ask for it. That's asking a lot. Would you be so forthcoming, Magneto, if positions were reversed? Catch 22, SheHulk. How can I prove that I am trustworthy unless you trust me? But I do not ask for myself. Whatever your feelings towards me, Shadowcat, and the X-Men have never done you any harm. Your device, Richards, is her only hope. This is a bad time. Tomorrow will be too late. There are no guarantees, even if I agree. The device is experimental, untested. Too much can go wrong. Give it a shot, Reed. What could go wrong? Snap. Better the dimmest of chances than none at all. Richards, I beg you, save her. Sue, I don't want to go, but there's a life at stake. There's always a life at stake. Do what you have to, Reed. I'll be here when you come home. I wonder, are you secretly thankful for this emergency? It's so much easier to deal with superheroic crisis than the nuts and bolts of real life. Saving universes has become second nature. But have we forgotten along the way that most awesomely heroic test of all is to be a good man or woman? Parents? A family? Ho ho ho, time out. Time out. This is not appropriate for 2020. We cannot talk about being a good man or woman, family, parents, that being the most. This is way too heteronormative. Sorry. I'm back to the show. Later still, high above the Atlantic. Never figured on wearing this outfit again, now that I'm back with the Avengers. Why'd you tag along? Curiosity, mostly. Who knows? Perhaps Magneto has reformed. That'll be the day. If not, if this is a trap, an extra set of muscles couldn't hurt. Ben, is Reed okay? He hasn't spoken a word since we took off. Count yourself lucky. Usually the problem is shutting him up. Hey, Stretch, something bugging you? Is it that obvious, old friend? Heck no. That bad, eh? Tell me, Ben. Am I ruthless? Wrong question. Not ruthless, so much as certain you're the most certain guy I've ever met. What do you mean? You examine a problem from every conceivable angle. Worry the blamed thing to death until you arrive at your conclusion. And because of all your work, you're absolutely certain that conclusion is the right one, and being right, you're prepared to do whatever's necessary to resolve the situation. I guess that's the kind of ruthlessness. But am I always right? Pretty much. Except for the time you conned me, Susie, and Johnny into riding your rocket with you by telling us how safe it was. That was a mistake, Stretch. It was a doozy. I always wondered how a big brain like you could forget about something as basic as cosmic rays. Muir Isle. Magneto's done it, bless him. Very fancy. I hope the results are as impressive as their hardware. The X-Men better have big doorways. No problem. If they don't, you and me will widen them up. Still don't feel right treating Magneto as a good guy. How is Kitty? Alive. Where is Reed Richards? We are ready when he is. Suppose I'm wrong. Suppose I made another mistake. This device is untested. So is my rocket. The computer simulations are positive, but a computer is only as accurate as the data is programmed with. Garbage in, garbage out. The simulations and projections were favorable before our first fateful space flight. I trusted them, and the people I hold most dear in all the world paid the price. If history repeats itself, my arrogance may condemn an innocent girl as well. Or my caution will. It's as if either way I lose. Why can't I find the answer? The harder I try to resolve everything, the more muddled I become. I'm needed here. I'm needed at home. Which is paramount? Is that a question I should ask? Or an answer I should instinctively know? Papa? They're counting on me. But of what use is their faith when I've none left myself? What's with Reed? He's been wound up tight he's been wound up tight as can be since we left. Is it because Sue didn't come along? Why didn't she? That isn't like her. Oh, geez. I hope nothing's going sour between them. Wolverine, why are you looking at Dr. Richards so? Something about him. Something don't sit quite right. Don't like it. Or him. For the rest of the day, Mr. Fantastic conducts an exhaustive examination of his patient and makes the final adjustments to his equipment. Then, at last... Well, Dr. Richards? Forgive me, Dr. McTaggart. There is nothing I can do. The devil you say. I've read the literature, Richards. This is precisely the sort of situation your mechanism was designed to deal with. The reincorporation of nuclear structures. It's a process of molecular bonding, but not of living tissue. Shadowcat's condition is too far advanced. I dare not. If you're so afraid, we'll do the job ourselves. We have the machine. We don't need you. Careful, chum. That doesn't belong to you. This is a heck of a time and place, Stretch, to get cold feet. We're rational beings. Let's resolve our differences in a rational manner. You're wasting your breath, Shulky. The only language that mutant bozo understands or respects is force. Mind your mouth, boy, and your manners. Oof. Leave this to the grown-ups. Wolverine? His claws can cut anything, even my dad's stretchable body, snicked. And he only uses them when he means business. He and my dad are gonna fight, just like in my special dream. We came to you for help, Richards. We trusted you. We put Shadowcat's life in your hands. So you save her, bub, or you die. Next issue, Truth and Consequences. How many pages? Oh, 20, 25 pages. There's something about like classic comics from the Bronze Age and before that just, they're just meatier, you know, like a modern comic, even a Bendis one, you can just blast through it. There's no substance, but this book was so much in like one issue. I was like, this feels like a double-sized issue, but it's not. I like this cover. Just Wolverine, just all callous, just standing. Your mother's been avenged, okay, kid? The kid's just crying. Ah! Wolverine's just like... and then Doctor Doom in the background. It's cool. Cool. I can't believe I never read this. For whatever... I know why. It's tough to explain why I didn't like... The Fantastic Four just seemed dorky to me. I didn't like their costumes. I thought that their powers were lame. Just not their powers are lame. They just felt really generic and too wholesome. It's the same thing I didn't like DC. I think DC had a similar reason. They're a group that as I got older as an adult, that really grew on me and I appreciated more. You guys have been really quiet, which means maybe I'm doing my job. You guys are falling asleep. Hopefully, I lulled you into bed. Let's put on the sign and read the rest of the chat. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, Eric Breen was still around. Let's see. Where I should mark where I was. Why does this... Okay. Where do I start here? Melissa says She-Hulk is supposed to be a female Hulk, not a man. Given. RDV says Eric Breen would make fun of you regardless of what you were reading. Eric says, I know all. RDV says 4.5. Is that his age? No, he's the 4. He's half. It's like, remember, it's Fantastic Four. So he was this Fantastic 4.5. That was kind of a cute, clever thing. Melissa says Wolverine can't die. He's immortal. That is not true. He's not immortal. Melissa says Reed's a psychopath. I don't think Reed's a psychopath at all. Reed Richards is a hero, like a genuine hero. Some of the writers write him kind of as a dick, because I think what happened is, like, Reed Richards, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong on this, especially Eric Breen if he's still around, because I am definitely no expert on Fantastic Four. But my observations seem to be that people they don't know how to write smart characters. It's a difficult thing to do. So, Reed Richards is one of the most brilliant people. He is one of the brilliant, probably the most brilliant person on the planet. If you don't count Moon Girl, right? Because of course she, and then of course, Riri Williams and half a dozen other, Amadeus Cho, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm getting in the weeds on that. Reed Richards is the most brilliant person on the planet. Writers that don't have trouble writing that, I think they might have gotten where they we'll write him like he's 100% logical all the time and having no emotion, and that'll come across as like a brainiac kind of character. And I think they kind of confused that. And then there's some tropes to that. Someone did mention that they thought Reed was autistic. Melissa says that. That's another way. This was written during a time where autism wasn't really... Autism was like a rare thing, I mean, most of the average person didn't know what autism was until the movie Rain Man, which came out probably a couple years after this, I think. So I don't know. To me, it's just like they're doing the Star Trek thing with like Spock. They're just writing him as cold, just a machine. Like he's only logic and he can't have emotion. But I don't know. Reed Richards is not a psychopath. He's a hero, genuine hero. At least he should be. That's the way he should be written. Sue is the most powerful character in Marvel as far as heroes go. I'd hate to be on her bad side. Sue's not even close to the most powerful character in Marvel. I mean, in today's modern writing, because number one, she's a woman, so she's got the power of woman. So yeah, and because we need to show up the entire Fantastic Four, show how she's the best, so they way overpowered her, but no, she's not. I mean, geez, she wouldn't even stand up to, several of the X-Men. I miss Reed smoking pipes and Wolverine and Nick Fury smoking cigars. Yeah, me too. Me too. Dragon says, I'm smoking a 2-foot glow-in-the-dark Iron Man Avengers bong with medical quality bud. All right. Hope you're enjoying that. When Ash reads the girl captions and then goes back to his normal male voice, I think of the movie Psycho. Okay. Let's see. Cat poop coffee costs the most money. Look it up. I don't want to look it up. What the hell? Let's see. All right. So Melissa is saying goodnight. I'm just scrolling through because there's a bunch of chat. Let's see. RDV says, sorry, was reading Batman No Man's Land. How are you reading comics while I'm reading comics to you? Like, do you have like attention deficit disorder, RDV? Jesus. Let's see. Moon Girl sucks. Yes, she does. Technically, Wolverine is immortal as long as his healing factor is not shut off or he's decapitated. No, he still grows old and he'll eventually die. As shown by Old Man Wolverine. Eric says, excise you. Riri Williams, Moon Girl, Nadia Pym, Valeria Richards. Reed is the smartest man in the Marvel Universe. Like being the best smelling turd in the punch bowl. Oh, excuse you. You were saying that. I was saying Dream Reed was a psychopath, not Real Reed. Oh, okay. Thanks for clearing that up, Melissa. In that case, I would agree. Yeah, that the Dream Reed obviously was, that was what the kid saw. Ash, I put Breen's photo of his room in the group. Look at his Bendis collection. Oh my God, he's probably got a huge Bendis collection. RDV says, I have selective hearing, and Ash, you are the best background noise. I don't have to take that as an insult or a compliment. But either way, you enjoy the stream however you enjoy the stream. I'm not going to force you to enjoy it a different way. If you want to read comics while people are reading, I can't do it. I can't. I listen to books on audio. I really like it. But I can only do it like when I'm driving. If I'm doing anything that requires me to think about something, I lose track of what I'm listening to. It's so rough. So like I can't sit at home and listen to a book on audio because I would just have to sit there. If I'm doing something very menial, non-thinking, like doing the dishes or something, I can do it. But anything that requires me, if I'm like organizing comic books, I can't even really do it because as soon as I start having to think words, I can't do it simultaneously. So I don't know how you do it. I'm guessing you probably just don't listen to me, which is fine. Anyways, hopefully I provided you some level of entertainment for tonight, all of you. I thank everyone for being here. I enjoy reading. Hopefully I'm not too bad. No, I am not a professional voice actor by any means. So take that as it will. I think both of these books were pretty good. It was kind of refreshing to go back to old school, like 80s Chris Claremont X-Men. The story is kind of weird. It kind of reminds me like that Chris Claremont would do that sometimes where you would like do a lot of setup and get the balls rolling. I felt like this issue was kind of that way. Like we got to get all this stuff going on so we can finally have the X-Men and Fantastic Four fight. You can't just throw them in there. Claremont always had to make things work for a reason. So this was during a really great time, one of my favorite eras of his X-Men run. So I don't know why I never read this. I mean, I know why, but I'm just kicking myself. But it's kind of cool now to be in 2020 and actually have Chris Claremont X-Men, during his 70s through 90s run that I have never read before. And Eclipse was fun. I thought Eclipse was well done. I haven't read the whole thing. Obviously, I only read one issue, but it kept me interested. The whole time I was reading it, I was wanting to know what happened next. I wasn't ever getting bored of it. Someone made a comment, there wasn't much action to it, and that's true. I mean, it's definitely a mystery, at least at this point. But that doesn't matter. Like I said, as long as it keeps my attention. I think these are both fun books. There's 4 issues that I'll be reading, so we'll do this Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday will be the wrap up of this leg. They're both 4 issues long. So that's it. Ash really sounds like a girl. Wow. That's so nice of you to say, Bendis. Wait, why did I call you Bendis? Oh, because I was reading Eric talk about Bendis. That's one of those Freudian slips where you're looking at something, you're trying to say something. I look forward to the next issue of Eclipse and FF versus X-Men, both books I've never heard of, so I'm learning right along with you, Ash. Oh, it's surprising. I would have thought you would have at least heard of the Fantastic Four X-Men. It was kind of a big deal when it came out. It wasn't as big of a splash as the Avengers X-Men. I know you weren't an X-Men person, but I thought you were a Fantastic Four person, Maranya. Maybe I'm wrong. RDV says Bendis will take over Hawkman. No, Hawkman's getting canceled. Bendis is taking over Justice League. So, can't wait for that. Woohoo! Oh my goodness. So I'm going to wrap things up here. I got a piece of cheesecake waiting for me in the fridge. And then I'm going to go play some Descent. And not Descent, Dauntless. And I wish I had more, someone would play with me. Let's see. Bendis will take, he's the reason it got canceled, says RDV. No, I think the sales are the reason it got canceled. I don't think Bendis is the reason. Are you serious, Ash? That's a mean prank if not. I am serious. Now, my information may be wrong, but I have been told that Bendis, like by serious sources, that as soon as Bendis ends his run on Superman, which he's ending in December, that he will be doing Justice League. And the suspicion right now is that it's sort of a face-saving position. Like, they don't want to just axe him on Superman and be like, yo, see ya. Like, so it's sort of like, here, you can have this book and we'll make it look like you're leaving of your own accord type thing. That's the suspicion. I don't know. I do know that I buy Justice League and I stopped buying Superman because of Bendis, and now I'm going to have to stop buying Justice League because of Bendis. So I'm definitely, oh man. Justice League is one of the best books at DC. Well, it was, at least when Snyder was doing it. There was some pretty cool stuff in that book. Might as well stay on Superman. At least he's only fucking up one JLA member over there. Right. And the thing is when Bendis leaves Superman, the damage is done. Like, we'll get better writing on Superman, but we'll still have aged up Jonathan. We'll still have Lois who cucked Superman for Lex Luthor. We'll have Superman whose identity's out in the world. Like, I don't know how you fix this damage that Bendis did. Like, it's so bad. Him and Tom King, man. God, who is driving the ship over there? But I'm crossing my fingers that Venditti will be getting a Justice Society book. And, I can pick that up, maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking about just bailing on DC altogether. They're a lot better than Marvel, but that's not saying much. And comics are just too expensive right now for me. And the Batman books are solid, but I need more than just a handful of solid books. And DC seems to be canceling everything or moving stuff to Black Label and just breaking things that they shouldn't. And it's just like, you just can't keep. I don't like. I like getting on a book. Like maybe it's because X-Men programmed me this way, but I jumped on X-Men, at 210, and I bought it every month for years and years. I was in like the late 300s when I exited X-Men. But as I was buying it, I was also buying backwards, trying to get to X-Men 94. And I never got to X-Men 94. I got I think like the 110s. But it just, I just had fun, like, and just for years could just enjoy that. I want to be able to do that again. I wanted to like be able to buy Hawkman and just every month just get the issue and look forward to it and just enjoy it, like I'm doing with Daredevil, right? Like it just 22 issues in, it's still going, like it's good. Like that's what comics need to be. And none of this, oh, we're changing this all up and radically moving, oh, we're rebooting and canceling this and moving. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, you're making things not matter. Anyways, I'm going to ramble on forever. I thank you guys again. Nothing else to say. Hopefully you got some good comics on Wednesday. Eric, you should talk to me. We should talk behind the scenes. Like to have you on again. Anyone else want to come on, do a collaboration thing, hit me up. You know how to reach me. If you have suggestions for comic books to read on the show, you know how to do that. And until then, I'll see you Sunday.